This is episode 11 of the One Idea podcast. You must spend money to make money. This podcast is produced by Evolve and Adapt, a certified management consulting and digital implementation firm based in Singapore and Malaysia. If you're looking for a professional team to position your brand and grow your business to the next level, speak to us at evolveadapt.com. Dear citizens, my name is JC Sum. I'm a certified marketing management consultant and the author of Evolve, Adapt or Collapse. Recently, an acquaintance in Malaysia contacted our KL office with the desire to start a business in KL or Selangor. It is a B2C, that is business to consumer business, to sell services direct to end clients. The nature of the business requires a physical location that caters to the customers. A bit of background info on the acquaintance. She is currently a salaried employee with a large organization and holds a senior position. Her background is in operations but does not have business, sales, or marketing experience. She was thinking about quitting her job to set up a business. The acquaintance had done her own projections and calculated that she needed an initial capital outlay of 100,000 ringgit, which is about 23,000 US dollars, and the monthly expenses of 10,000 ringgit, which is about 2,500 US dollars. When we heard these figures, we immediately felt it was tremendously undervalued. We did our own rough projections based on our experience and took the following costs in mind. We started with initial capital investment, which is the money needed to even get the business off the ground to start serving customers and generating revenue. Our initial capital investment included 2 months rental deposit and first month's rental, renovation including plumbing, electrical, flooring and painting works, licensing, furniture, equipment, a CCTV setup, graphic design work for a corporate identity, marketing, which includes website development, hosting, domain name, digital ads and signage, and finally insurance. Our projected capital outlay was 210,000 ringgit, which is about 50,000 US dollars. Our monthly expenses included rent, salaries, consumables, utilities such as electricity, water and Wi-Fi, marketing expenses such as search engine optimization, content development and running online ads, and finally a buffer for miscellaneous operating expenses. Our projected monthly expenses was 28,000 ringgit, which is about 6,500 US dollars. That means our projections for capital needed was more than twice projected and monthly expenses was almost 3 times as much. Now, if we were really working with a client, we would do proper due diligence and research to get even more accurate figures. Incidentally, I got a team member to do a bit of research of setting up a business in KL, and he found that the following figures provided by imoney.com, a financial website, gave the following for setting up a cafe in Klang Valley. Total capital investment 237,200 ringgit, and for total monthly expenses 32,683 ringgit. As you can see, our rough projections were within 15% of these projections. I should mention that just as it is important to calculate costs, you must be able to also project revenue. And to be safe, you should also assume you do not get any business for the first 2 months. This timeline depends on the nature of the business, the price of the product, and the sales cycle, which is the time it takes for a customer to buy the product. For B2C businesses with a low to medium price point, with good marketing, sales should be able to be generated within the first month. But that is the best case scenario. This acquaintance had done some modest revenue projections, but based on our cost projections, the business will break even only in 40 months, that is just over 3 years. This also assumes the business owner does not draw a salary or take any money out of the business. Unfortunately, the acquaintance felt our projections were too high and not realistic, and that her figures were viable. All I can say is, good luck. According to a post-mortem analysis of 101 startups by CB Insights, 29% of small businesses fail due to a lack of capital. In an article in entrepreneur.com entitled It always takes more time and money than you think to start a business. Whitestone Partners, a US-based business consultancy firm, shared how they started in a room above their garage. They kept their costs to a minimum and believed that they'll be able to sell their consulting services reasonably quickly. While they didn't anticipate being able to replace their former salaries immediately, they thought that within 3 to 6 months they would be able to pay their bills from the business, and within a year they should be paying themselves. They were wrong. They didn't factor into their plan that they were completely unknown as small business consultants within their Richmond, Virginia market. It took them 12 months to start generating revenue. I can speak from personal experience. When I started Evolve and Adapt, a strategic marketing consultancy firm, I had prepared to go 6 months without getting any revenue. We received our first payment for services at the end of month 7, so that was cutting it close. That was 7 months of paying salaries and operating expenses such as marketing and digital tools with zero revenue. The reality is, if you're starting a business, especially one that requires a physical location and staff, there are costs that cannot be ignored. Now, an online business that can be operated from home will reduce capital investment and operating costs significantly, but will still require money. For example, if you are an online business, you will need a website and marketing. You can choose to spend money or save money. Here are some points raised by Kinsta. In the article, you need to spend money to make money. Here's why. A cheap web hosting will cost you less, but will lead to slower loading speed, less uptime, and delays in fixing problems, which in turn will lead to lost sales. Is the money you would save worth it? Or a free app will cost you nothing, but due to its limits, completing the same task might take 5 hours more, which means you have 5 hours less available for other work. Is the money you would save worth it? Or you could write that blog post yourself, but it will take you 10 hours to do it, which again means that you have 10 hours less available for other tasks. Is the money you would save worth it? Ultimately, these trade-offs means one of two things. Time versus money. You can spend time and save money, or you can spend money and save time. Which resource is in shorter supply at the moment? Short-term gain versus long-term gain. You can save money now but lose money in the long run, or you can spend money now and save money in the long run. Which is more important? There are no right or wrong answers to these questions. It all depends on your particular situation. Only you will know what is right for your business. How long does it take from idea to business launch? Zen Business gives the following statistics. Typically, it takes a startup business 6 months to 1 year from initial idea to product launch and their first paying customers. Service businesses can be launched in 3 months, online businesses in 30 days, and retail stores, restaurants, and clothing lines commonly take 1 year from conception to launch. So here is the one idea from this episode. If you intend to start a business, always make sure you calculate your costs after conducting in-depth research. Once you get that figure, add 25%. Next, make projections for revenue and the time it takes to make that revenue. Now reduce the revenue by 25% and increase the time by 25%. This will give you an idea of how much financial resources you will need to start your business. Finally, I'd like to highlight the importance of marketing and marketing investment. In the previous episode, we discussed a good product versus good marketing, so have a listen to that if you have not. But I cannot stress the importance for marketing and allocating significant funds for marketing. Without marketing, you're handicapping your business's chance of success. And many people embark on marketing but abandon it after a month because results are not showing. Marketing takes time and is ongoing and long-term. You need a minimum of a 3 to 6 month commitment before results may show. So stick with it. You're marketing for future revenue, not today's revenue. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the One Idea podcast. Catch every episode by subscribing to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or on your favorite podcast app. Just search for One Idea. ONEEYEDEER. As you know, a podcast needs listeners' reviews to grow. So please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This ensures we can keep this podcast free forever. Check the show notes for details. If you'd like to learn more about the podcast, myself, or our consulting firm, head over to oneideapodcast.com. My name is JC Sum, and this has been One Idea.